Hey, what's up guys, this is Shukesh once again, and well, today I present you the Samsung Galaxy On7 full in-depth review. Well, this is one of the interesting devices Samsung has ever produced, and at only 11,000 rupees, that is $170 US, you get a huge 5.5 inches HD screen, and the back panel is now also rubberized, which feels and looks great. Certainly much better than the matte or glossy plastic you are used to see on Samsung Galaxies. Overall, I really don't have any serious complaints on the exterior design and the build quality of this Samsung Galaxy On7. For a device at this price point, you really don't expect any metal or exclusive design, but this exterior look is kind of old and repetitive. Though there are subtle changes Samsung has made. For example, you get slightly boxy corners and dual-tone bezel, giving you the impression of chamfered edges, somewhat like the Galaxy Note 4, as I discussed on the unboxing video, and I really do prefer this over the full chrome finish because that's wears away, and overall the look and feel of this device is actually quite good for a device in 11,000 rupees category. In fact, previous years Samsung flagships had more or less the same build and look. Well, as you know, there are two color options, black and gold. You can go for either one, and long story short, considering this is a Samsung phone, you get quite a good hardware for the price. Now, as you know, there is another device called Galaxy On5, which has a 5 inches HD screen and exactly the same looks. Because of the smaller screen, you get better ergonomics, and well, if you are into gaming, then definitely prefer the On7 because you get a very basic Cortex A7 processor on the On5. In fact, I have a separate video comparing these two, so look for the channel and I'll drop the link in the description below as well. There I also have a Motorola Moto G Turbo Edition, which is basically a carbon copy of the Moto G 3rd generation with a better processor. You can get an idea about how does these two phones look side by side, and though the Motorola device is thicker, it looks better, and the base version of Moto G cost 12,000 rupees, that is only 1,000 rupees extra than this On7, and apart from the smaller screen, Moto G3 has water resistant body, slightly better CPU, same GPU, and lower RAM, lower battery. But considering the Moto G3 runs on stock Android, the interface is not that much RAM demanding and the battery drainage is also quite low, but the battery backup of this On7 is unbeatable, and in between these two, that is the On7 and the Moto G3 base edition, you can go for the G3, but remember you have a much smaller 5 inch screen. Now on the unboxing video, I have discussed about this display and the exterior design and ports. This huge display is one of the main reasons you should get this On7, and the color rendering is excellent, the viewing angles are decent, and 267 ppi is more than enough, you are never going to complain. Now let's have a recap of the ports and design of this On7 from the unboxing video. Guys, now let me give you a quick tour of the exterior ports. First of all, as you know, there is a 5.5 inches HD TFT LCD screen with 267 ppi. As usual, just below the display you will find the home button and the capacitive back and app switcher. The ear speaker grill is above the display, and following the trend of Samsung's entry-level phones, there is the ambient light sensor, so no auto brightness possible. The front camera is a 5 megapixel resolution with full HD recording, and the rear camera is a 13 megapixel shooter with full HD recording as well. You also get the LED flash and the loudspeaker on either sides of the camera lens. At the bottom, you will find the 3.5mm headphone jack, the microphone hole, and the micro USB port. There is nothing at the top. The power key is on the left and the volume rocker is on the right side of the phone. So overall, standard Samsung design. Now if you compare this On7 with the iPhone 6s Plus, which has the same screen size, you can get an idea about how compact is this On7. The 6s Plus is not usable with one hand at all. Because of the compactness, this On7 is more one hand friendly and you will get used to this eventually. As you know, this is a dual SIM device and it takes micro SIM cards. There is also a micro SD card slot expandable up to 128 gig. Now for an entry-level device, this Galaxy On7 sports a huge 3000 mAh battery, and the battery backup is just excellent, and especially the standby time is, I think, never ending, and on normal to heavy uses you will get at least 2 full days, and there you get power saving modes as well, which are very handy. This ultra power saving mode is one of the great features of Samsung. You get only dialer, messaging and the browser. All the background running applications are suspended, and in this mode you can expect at least a full week of backup on this Galaxy On7. This is something you won't find on the Moto G3. Well, if you ask me, I'll say I really don't find the stock Android devices fancy because the interface is not that much user friendly, not optimized for better user experience, and when you are getting a smartphone you can really expect some smart features. Though the stock Android devices are supposed to be faster, you have the latest version of TouchWiz on this Galaxy On7, which is surprisingly extremely swift and responsive. Despite having lots of software features, the applications open almost instantly, and while considering there are lots of camera features on this On7, it's supposed to take time, but not that much actually. Gone are the days when TouchWiz was laggy, and as I discussed on my previous videos, this Galaxy On7 has the latest version of TouchWiz unlike the Galaxy J series devices, so you have the feel of Galaxy Note 5, and not to mention I have the Moto G Turbo here, which is much more powerful than this On7. So if you think you should prefer a stock Android device just for being fast, then I'll say the new TouchWiz interface is remarkably fast enough. Let me also show you the benchmark results of this On7, and for an 11,000 rupees device the result is actually quite decent. The Moto G Turbo here is an higher end octa-core device, and let me remind you, the Moto G 3rd generation scored only 24,000 on this AnTuTu 5 benchmark, so you can expect better performance from this On7. There you have the 3D Mark Gamers benchmark score, and on the Galaxy On7 you get respectable 4301, which is almost the same I got on the Moto G3. The Moto G Turbo here is indeed a very powerful device and cost around 3500 rupees more, so if you are into Motorola device then get this Turbo edition, because looks like this Galaxy On7 is as powerful as the Moto G 3rd generation. And again there is Galaxy J7, which is beyond doubt one of the best mid-range devices at 15,000 rupees. But at around 10,000 or 11,000 rupees, this Galaxy On7 looks like a decent device to buy. Now let's quickly talk about the software features, and as I mentioned before, you have the latest version of TouchWiz with rounded icons, and unlike the J series devices there is no unnecessary apps or bloatware, though there are some added features like you have got ultra data saving mode when you are on mobile network, and as you know this is a 4G device, and in this mode you can save up to 40% of your data, and the Opera Mini browser is also included for this mode. If you swipe right you get the Smart Manager, and you can access to your storage, RAM and also battery function, so you can monitor which app is always eating up battery, and you can also clean up your temporary files, cache memory and other unnecessary data. The phone can also scan for unused files and applications, and you can clean those as well. Now the internal storage of this phone is 8GB, and you get 4.36GB out of the box, which might not be great for an Android device nowadays, and you can of course move your installed apps to your external SD card, but big games also eats up lots of internal storage, and system apps can't be moved to the SD card, as you know. So after months or a year of use you might run out of internal storage, and as you know that will also make the phone quite slow. RAM management is another important factor regarding this, and being a Samsung device the RAM usage is actually quite high as expected, but don't worry, the free RAM is around 800 or 900 MB out of 1.5GB, which is not that bad actually. In fact 1.5GB of RAM on an 11,000 rupees phone is quite impressive. The Galaxy On7 also supports Knox Active Protection, that is, you can enable enterprise level security, and there is no MyKnox support unlike the J series devices. You can scan the whole device for adware, malware, and these are the benefits of getting this Samsung device. And you are also getting access to Mix Radio, which has over 1 million of songs, and you can even download and take them offline. You can also create your own mix, and I personally like this app a lot. Let me also now talk about the music performance of this phone, and as you know the Samsung J series devices did not have good loudspeakers, and on these Galaxy On series devices I think the loudspeaker works better. It's definitely louder and might be somewhat clearer, good enough for indoor listening. Well, I think the media volume is set to low, and there you go.
It's me. I was wondering if after all these years.
Well, pretty loud and clear.
Give it to me. I met a boy last week trying to run that game. Made it sound so sweet when it said
You
my
can
name.
download this song from here as well. Guys, next let me talk about the camera of this phone, and as you know, there is a 13 megapixel shooter at the back and a 5 megapixel shooter at the front, and you can record great full HD videos with both of these. So resolution wise, this entry level phone has got really impressive cameras. I'll talk about the quality later. As you can see, there is no shutter lag whatsoever and the focusing is almost instantaneous. Being a Samsung device, there are lots of camera features as well, like you can apply effects on the fly, and there are a couple of interesting camera modes as well. You get the Pro mode, which allows you to change the white balance, ISO and the exposure on the go. So if you are a photography enthusiastic, you will find this quite amusing, and you also get a couple of other modes like panorama, continuous shot, and most importantly beauty face, which as you know airbrushes your face and make them spotless. This works quite great and you will love it. Now let's talk about the image quality. I took this image with 2x digital zoom and look at the details. This Galaxy On7 has got one of the best cameras in its class. Not only the images are 13 megapixel big, the details are clear and the low light capability of this camera is also decent. I took this image in poor indoor lighting condition, and as you can see, for a smartphone the noise level is really quite low. The maximum aperture of this camera is f2.1, which is not bad, and the flash is also decently powerful to give you acceptable images in low light, and overall for an entry-level device I'm totally satisfied with the indoor shots. There you have some outdoor images which are just beautiful, super sharp, and the color science of this Samsung camera is just mind-blowing. You can compare these images with any mid-level or even some high-end camera phones, and I also tried a macro shot and the image is also crazy sharp. So under good lighting condition, this camera can be just excellent, and just go to gadgetsportal.in/camera-samples, and I've also uploaded them to my Facebook page, facebook.com/gadgetsportal. Well, now let me show you some important settings, then I'll make my final verdict. This Galaxy On7 is a dual SIM device with smart dual SIM function, that is, you can still get calls from the SIM 2 even when you are busy over the SIM 1. Now as you know, there is no ambient light sensor on this phone, so no auto brightness, but there you get an outdoor mode which will make your device more visible under sunlight. And the most important part is there is an one-handed operation, that is, when you are on the dialer or on the keyboard, you get a minimized one-hand friendly input area which will make your device more user-friendly, and now calling a person or typing a message with one hand won't be a big issue for people with small hands. Well guys, we are almost at the end of this video, and I think Samsung has done a fantastic job creating this device. This huge 5.5 inches HD screen is the main asset of this phone, and for only 11,000 rupees you get a really capable multimedia device. I also like the camera, speaker, and of course the battery. So if you watch lots of movies, browse the internet, do Facebook, Twitter, and also love to read ebooks, then the huge display along with the great battery will help. But if you are into hardcore gaming, then this phone might not be the great phone for you, because high-end games like Nova 3 don't work on this phone, and you can of course play mid-level games, and high-end games like Asphalt 8 can be played also in medium graphics. So if you are into hardcore gaming, if you are getting this device for playing games only, then you should actually prefer Galaxy J7, which cost 4,000 rupees extra. Motorola Moto G Turbo Edition is another good choice. Don't get the Moto G 3rd generation because that phone cannot also handle Nova 3. If you badly need the Super AMOLED screen, then you can also consider the Galaxy J5, which has almost identical specs as this On7, with a smaller 5-inch screen and slightly better camera actually. The low light handling of the Galaxy J5's camera is just great. You can check my channel for the reviews of Galaxy J5, J7, On7, On5, Moto G devices, and well, there are so many devices and it's all confusing. Thanks a lot for watching guys. This is Shukesh Banik, and hopefully you have found this video quite interesting and helpful. So please consider subscribing to this channel and keep in touch. Well, that's all in this video today. Thanks again for watching.